into the action for another day of the week. Welcome to the Wednesday edition of Chasing That Paper, presented by VegasInsider.com. And oh, baby, coming off a nice night of betting there yesterday, 2-1, but one of those two was a plus 380 winner. Joel Embiid went off last night in Los Angeles. We had him 40 more points at plus 380. So Embiid came through for us. So nice hit there. So we're going to try to bring that same energy into today. It is a big basketball show today. 4 total picks in the NBA, 3 for college basketball. The gentleman making those college basketball picks is my coworker here at Vegas Insider. None other than Kevin Rodgers. Let's bring him in. The man in the minute down there in South Florida. So, Kevin, we must address the elephant in the room. We celebrate our wins, but we don't hide from our losses around here. So you came in red hot prior to the holidays, 6-0, 2 consecutive sweeps, but since 2 consecutive reverse sweeps, or as we call it, the double reverse cowgirl around here. So we know you're a big fan of the revenge game narrative. So are you going to take revenge upon yourself from the past here on the show today?
Joe, good morning. Thank you for the intro. And yes, I don't know if we call it golden sombrero or what exactly we call it, but inexcusable efforts the last few weeks, but yet you've still allowed me on the show, which I appreciate. So hopefully tonight we turn it around, revenge, double revenge, whatever, we get revenge on what we did. So let's do it and hope that we turn things around just a little bit tonight.
Yeah, I know producer Tito quite upset. He tailed you in all those picks, and as a result, he is down big time. His lovely wife has him sleeping on the futon as a result of that. So not good. So yeah, we'll look to go 7-0 here today. I believe we did that back in December. So let's do that again today. Okay, let's get right into the action. We're going to start things off in the NBA. We're going to take a little swing here tonight. We took a big one with Joel Embiid last night, but a little bit of a swing here. I'm going to take Trae Young to score 30 or more points. That one's going off at plus 195 tonight in Dallas versus the Mavericks. This is a beautiful spot to go off. This is only 2.6 points higher than his season average, and I think he can be better than average tonight because the Mavs are last in the NBA in free throw attempts allowed over the last 10 games. This is significant because Young gets to the line a lot. He is 5th in the NBA in free throw attempts. Mavs also bad at defending in the paint, where Young scores about 35% of his points. And it's not like this is a crazy feat by any means for Young. He has 15 30-plus point games on the season. We'll take him to do it again. 30-plus points coming in at plus 195. All right, Kevin, we shift over to college hoops. What are you looking at best first for your best bet?
Joe, we're going to start with the total in the American Athletic Conference. East Carolina takes on Temple in the great city of Philadelphia tonight, and we're going to take the over on this game. And the two teams, they met up to begin AAC play. 59-57 win for Temple at East Carolina. And this number has dropped a little bit, but still, I think they go the other way tonight. And the first meeting, 12 of 47, the teams combined from three-point range. East Carolina was 20 of 35 from the free throw line. They were dreadful from the floor. But also, Temple has done a good job of cashing overs in the role of a favorite. 3 consecutive overs in the favorite role for Temple. They're coming off a low-scoring loss to Memphis, 61-59 over the weekend, Temple did. But I think that they bounce back here. I think they score. I think East Carolina, who has not really been great defensively, they gave 81 to USF, the Tito's USF Bulls. That's bad. And 83 to Cincinnati the last 2. I think that the teams will move it a bit tonight. Let's take the over between the Pirates and the Owls, Joe.
Okay, indeed. So, yeah, I like Trae Young to have a big game tonight, but I like him to have a big game in a losing effort because I'm going to take the Mavs to cover the minus 2-point spread with the Hawks in town tonight. A fantastic situational betting spot to fade the Hawks and back the Mavs. So you do want to fade Atlanta after a win. Of course, they're coming off of a win versus the Miami Heat. but not a lot of consistency from this team. They're 7-14 against the spread following a loss this season. As for the Mavs, they're coming off 2 straight losses, but the Mavs don't stay down for long. This is a team that doesn't let losses linger. Just once this season, back in November, did they have a losing streak of 3 or more games. 3 of those losses were on the road versus strong competition. And the Mavs are much better at home, 16-6 on their home court, one of the best home records in the NBA. A great spot to get back on track versus an inferior Atlanta team. And going back to last season, Dallas has been a great bet as a small favorite in the 1 to 3 point range, going 14-4 against the spread. Give it the Mavs to bounce back, -2. All right, Kevin, back to college hoops. What do you got for us next?
We're going to head to the SEC next, where it just means more, not only in football, but also in basketball. That's their slogan. And we're going to take the points with the Florida Gators, as much as I don't want to, but I will, even though I'm a Florida State grad. But whatever. I'm going to go with the Gators here. You know why? You're getting some value with them. They've won 3 straight, and they're playing a little bit better after kind of a slow start there, a slow stretch in late December. They were 0-2 in SEC play, losing to Auburn by 3. Also a close home loss to Texas A&M the first time around, 66-63. The Gators were laying 6 in that one, but they've won 3 in a row, coming off an impressive home win over Missouri. Meanwhile, for the Aggies, they've actually played very well of late. 6 consecutive wins for them. They've covered the last 5 games, but also they just blew out South Carolina by 41, who is probably the worst team in the SEC. You know, they did beat Kentucky, but also South Carolina's lost to Ole Miss last night, who's not a very good team. But when you look at some of the wins, beating LSU, who's not very good as well, they had a good home win against Missouri. But I think that Florida will get the big revenge tonight, getting points with them. Let me take the points with the Gators tonight against the Aggies in College Station, Joe.
Breaking news here. This just in. This seems like a match made in heaven. The New York Jets are currently meeting with former Denver Broncos head coach Nathaniel Hackett for their offensive coordinator position. Can you imagine the Hackett and Zach Wilson combo? How great would that be for unintentional comedic reasons? All right, moving on here. We got the Pacers in OKC taking on the Thunder. I'm going to take the Thunder to cover the spread, -4. In this one. So, of course, Tyrese Halliburton out of the lineup for the Pacers, and they've looked absolutely pitiful without him. He won't be on the court tonight. 0-3, including losses of 13 and 18, 29th in EFG percentage and 28th in opponent EFG percentage in the 3-game span. Incredible start to the year for OKC. 6-2 straight up in 2023, 7-1 against the spread in that span. Wins over serious competition like the Celtics, Mavs, Sixers, and Nets. No more tanking for the Thunder. They're just 2 games below 500 now and currently occupy a play-in spot in the West. You dig into the stats, the big edge is going to be 3-point defense for the Thunder. Each of these squads reliant on the 3-point.
Kane, they're taking on St. Bonaventure tonight on the road. And what's interesting here is that St. Bonaventure so far this season, or at least in Atlantic 10 play, they're 3-0 at home. And this is a team that has just 1 loss so far on the season at their home court. But yet there's not a lot of respect for the home favorite for whatever reason. And now tonight against Duquesne, they're still a dog, which doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And Duquesne, they've been actually very good against the spread when you see the numbers there. Look, they're a team that's 7-1 against the spread in the last 8. And last season, St. Bonaventure, they were a favorite of 7 points and 14 against Duquesne. And they beat them both times. I know double revenge thing, but my point more on this is they were heavy favorites last year in each of those games. Shows you how improved Duquesne is. And now Duquesne's a short road favorite. I'm going to go with the Dukes here. I'm going to take Duquesne to keep rolling and hand St. Bonaventure its first home conference loss, Joe.
All right, little technical difficulties, part of the game when you're live streaming from a bunch of different locations, I guess. Okay, my final pick of the show today, I'm going to take a shot on the Memphis Grizzlies, -7.5. With the Cavaliers in 10. Seems like a lot of points, maybe. Not really. Hear me out on this one. When Memphis wins, they win big. Average win at home comes by 14.8 points. 12 double-digit wins on their home court. Opponent EFG percentage over the last 10 games. This is first versus 22nd in the NBA. The Grizz are 22nd in second in three-point defense in the span. The Cavs are 27th. Cavs struggle on the road as well. Check out their home-away splits. Rather alarming. 4-12-1 ATS road slide in their last 17 games outside of Cleveland. Memphis, one of the best home teams in the NBA, one of the best home bets. 14-7-1 ATS at home. Taking all those big win margins to the bank. And of course, Donovan Mitchell is doubtful for this game. The Grizzlies don't take their foot off the gas versus anyone. So Cleveland's really going to miss Mitchell there tonight. Give me the Grizzlies. -7.5. All right, we are back. That sucks. We lost a big chunk of the live audience. That's the way she goes. Okay, guys, if you're looking to tail any of those bets, if you're looking to fade any of them, the choice quite simply is yours. I recommend placing your action over at BetMGM. Let me tell you a little bit about them. Kick off your day of sports betting with the king of sportsbooks. Sign up with BetMGM using bonus code VIBONUS. And your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000. That's VI bonus, all one word, no spaces. And your first wager is risk-free up to $1,000. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 or older. BetMGM, the king of sportsbooks. Yeah. All right, let's kick around a couple topics here. Kevin, we put a poll up on the Vegas Insider Twitter feed this morning, asking people their opinion on Aaron Rodgers. Back in the news again. He doesn't stay out of the news very long, does he? So will Aaron Rodgers finish his career with the Packers? 63.6% said no. And I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. I thought I really went on the limb with this, but going into the season, I predicted that Aaron Rodgers would once again be here making more noise. So why are we bringing this up? Well, Aaron Rodgers appeared on the Pat McAfee show there yesterday. And we have this quote from Pro Football Focus. I think I can win MVP again in the right situation. Is that Green Bay or somewhere else? I'm not sure. Now, I hope I'm not taking that out of context. I didn't listen to the interview. Sometimes they just pull these quotes and they put them in there for clickbait and things of that nature. But I think there's some truth to this. And how are we doing this again? They just gave the guy a 3-year deal for $150 million. He's not out there playing for free, and the Packers are in a situation where they have to force Aaron Rodgers' hand. They got to give this guy a deadline to say, dude, tell us what you fucking want to do here. We're not going through this again. They went through it, 15 years ago, whenever it was with Brett Favre. Now they're out here doing this whole song and dance again, and they shouldn't have to bend over to the guy. He's coming off yet another bad game in a win-or-go-home game. And it's not like he has the luxury of saying, well, listen, I'm the MVP of the league. So you got to listen. I think they probably looked at Aaron Rodgers at points this season and thought, this guy might be regressing a little bit. We got to think about the quarterback position going forward. So I think he should leave. Enough of this bullshit. Coming back, he came back, and I knew it was going to be a disaster without Devontae Adams. Leave. Go to the Raiders. Go to the Jets. Go to the Ravens, maybe, when Lamar leaves. Disaster. So, Kevin, what do you make of this whole thing? You think Rodgers is going to be playing for the Packers week 1 next season?
I just don't know how you unload him. I mean, like you said, the 3-year deal, you're right through 1 year. This past year's getting $35 million something, whatever it is, each year. I don't know where you send him to. And yes, there are a lot of teams in the NFL that are very desperate for starting quarterbacks. And even a guy of Aaron Rodgers' caliber, who isn't what he was a few years ago, is still a better option than a lot of other guys in this league. I mean, we saw what happened to Derek Carr. The Raiders said, forget it. We're just not playing you the final 2 games. He's probably done in Las Vegas. We know the Jets need a quarterback. Carolina needs a quarterback. Denver's stuck with Russell Wilson. The problem is that all these older quarterbacks now, Joe, Tom Brady set a very dangerous precedent because he won a Super Bowl in Tampa in his 40s, and everyone thought, all right, well, we can still get Russell Wilson. Yeah, Matt Stafford won with the Rams last year, but now we saw what happened to them this year. They were a total disaster. That all these quarterbacks that are aging, you think, okay, still have it. Some that don't have it anymore. Brady didn't play well on Monday against Dallas. Rodgers, like you said, in that Detroit game, win or go home. Everyone talks about going to Green Bay and Lambeau Field, and it's so cold. He's losing all of these games you have to advance. He did it last year against San Francisco in the divisional round. They've had plenty of losses at home over the years in the playoffs. You think, oh, Green Bay, nobody could win there. Well, the other team wins there, not Green Bay. I think that Rodgers will probably end up staying with the Packers just because they can't really unload him, and I don't know who wants to take on his contract. But also, you need to give him a little bit of help. The Devontae Adams thing is just funny because he ends up going to the Raiders thinking he's better off, and both teams didn't go to the playoffs. Adams did have some pretty good games in the second half of the season, but now his quarterback is gone. So the whole thing has turned into a big mess. I don't know why they had to make it into that mess. Now Jordan Love is sitting, waiting in the wings. They have him for the last few years not playing. It's just a mess. I think he ends up finishing in Green Bay, being done with it, and then just retires because you know what? I don't know how much he's got left in the tank.
Yeah, do you really want to give up a bunch of draft picks for the right to pay Aaron Rodgers $100 million over the next 2 seasons? Of course, people come to me, oh, what about the Dolphins, Joe? I think Tua's making about $6 million next season. I'll take my chances with him. I know there's the injury issues and stuff like that, but $50 million for Rodgers, who can't win a big game to save his life. So give me a break on that. So another thing crossed my mind here, Kevin. I'm watching this 76ers-Clippers game last night. Of course, another loss for the Clippers. For some reason, the Clippers come into the season as one of the favorites to win the NBA championship. Now I think they're in 6th place in the Western Conference. God knows who's going to play for them. You ever look at the injury report for the Clippers on a game day? Never mind the second game of a back-to-back, the situation that they're in tonight. It's a complete and total disgrace for this team. And I think we're in year 4 of the Kawhi, Paul George experiment. And I think it's fair to call this an epic fucking disaster. One of the biggest disasters in the past decade in the NBA. They completely bent over to bring Kawhi Leonard in. Of course, they give him a shitload of money. They trade everything they have to bring Paul George in. And what have they gotten? Nothing. No playoff success whatsoever. Sure, they made it to the Western Conference Finals. Guess who wasn't there? Kawhi Leonard didn't play. They blew the 3-1 lead in the bubble to the Nuggets. They lost in the play-in last year. Kawhi hasn't played more than 57 games in a season. He missed all of last season. It's not happening for the Clippers. And I think it's kind of funny how this worked out. When a team completely bends over for one player, or a few players in some instances, it doesn't work out. Look what happened with the Nets. They sold their soul to bring James Harden in. How'd that work out? Not very good at all. Now, I know the Lakers won a championship, of course, but how have things gone since then? They let LeBron play GM. LeBron had the most success in his career in Miami, where the Heat said no. Pat Riley said, no, I'm telling you what to do. You're not calling the shots. You go out there and play. You're the player. You're not the GM. You're not in the front office. So what do you think here, Kevin? My take on the Clippers. You think this is a failure? You think they still got a shot to win an NBA championship?
I think it goes both ways. I think it can be a failure so far. They still have a shot. Now, the best shot they had was that bubble because they're up 3-1 on Denver. They beat Denver in one of those games. They had a huge lead in one of those. I think in Game 6 or Game 7 they had a huge lead. They blew. They play the Lakers in the conference finals. All of a sudden, you're like, wow, Clippers, Lakers, conference finals. And it was kind of a dud when the Nuggets were there. Nobody really wanted to see Denver. They wanted the Battle of L.A. there in the bubble. And that was their best shot. They blew that. And then, like you said, he tears his ACL against Utah. Somehow they won that series against the Jazz. But then Phoenix ended up knocking them out in the next round. And then Kawhi doesn't play. They're in the play-in. And they end up losing last year to Minnesota in the play-in. Now, I still think the Clippers have a shot just because Kawhi, when healthy, and Paul George, when healthy, there's still 2 superstars in this game. It's just about you got to have them healthy at the same time, at the right time. And considering the Western Conference is up for grabs. There isn't, Golden State's not running away with it like they had in years past. I mean, they're still going to be good, but their road record's awful. And, like you said, the Lakers, they got a lot of work to do. Memphis has been great. Denver's been great under the radar. That it still is a wide open thing in the Western Conference. It has been a failure so far because you've had no NBA Finals appearances with these two stars. And Kawhi took Toronto in a year to the NBA Finals, and he won. And he goes to LA, back to Southern California, where you would have thought that he would have really stepped up. And look, injuries have hurt him, and this team has blown opportunities in the playoffs. I just think that it's not done yet as long as those two stay healthy. That's where I'm going with that. I'm not ready to close the book on the Clippers just yet.
Speaking of championship windows being shut, how about the Phoenix Suns? Devin Booker last played on Christmas Day. Since then, the Phoenix Suns are 2-9. And it's pretty bad if your best player goes out and then all of a sudden you just become one of the worst teams in the NBA. Now, of course, we know for the Suns, they made it all the way to the finals. Kind of a weird year in the NBA, a lot of injuries. You'll probably recall with the Lakers and, of course, the Clippers that year as well. But, they're sitting there 12th place in the Western Conference right now. That team was fun for a while. The DeAndre Ayton stuff, I don't think he's getting any better anytime soon. There's some bad blood there. Chris Paul, he's not getting any younger. Obviously, Devin Booker's still great, but he's not on the court. So what do you think about the Suns here? You think they can get back into it here and make a little bit of noise? A couple months ago, they would have been looked at as one of the best teams in the NBA. But since, they've completely fallen off the cliff.
They have, and you're depending on Chris Paul, who we know is not exactly the most clutch player in the world, to take you very far. And look, they got a lot of young players on that team. That it's not exactly like a veteran-laden team. And you had that 2-0 lead against Milwaukee in the finals. Like that's a killer. You blow that, and you said it, Joe, that the window closed when they lost that NBA Finals a few years ago to Milwaukee, getting the breaks they got by playing the Clippers without Kawhi. Anthony Davis, I believe, was hurt in that Lakers series early on. Then when you get a lot of those breaks and you can't take advantage of it, you win the first two at home, and then you end up losing that series in Milwaukee 4-2. It's just gone backwards for the Suns. That was their best opportunity, and Dallas blows them out last year in Game 7 at home in the playoffs. I just believe that the window is probably closed on this team because you don't know how much time Chris Paul has got left. And again, Devin Booker, one of the bright young stars in the league. If he can't stay healthy, who else are you really depending on that Suns team?
Yeah, fun season, very competitive conference. Be interesting to see if the Warriors can get it going. They typically don't give a shit about the regular season, but they really got to put their foot on the gas here and start moving up those standings a little bit. I'm telling you, those Memphis Grizzlies might be their year. Okay, guys, now it is time to tell you about the Vegas Insider app. It gives you all the major sports and betting odds at your fingertips, along with picks and expert breakdowns. You can shop for the best odds, find props, features, and plenty more with the app. If you want more Vegas Insider content like our shows, videos, and podcasts, you can find it all on the app in the media section. Download the Vegas Insider app on Apple or Android. Bet better with the Vegas Insider app. Indeed. Okay, let's get into some viewer picks here. A couple submissions here this morning. College hoops, NBA prop here from at 27 Rings, bro. I think this guy must be a Yankees fan, or maybe he's being sarcastic, mocking the 27 rings. Maybe an odd thing to mock, I guess, but a lot of Yankees fans living in the past, that's for sure. He likes Kristaps Porzingis, I call him. I'm not a fan, but I'll be rooting for a guy because he's got him going over 20.5 points at Madison Square Garden tonight. This has hit 7 of his last 8 games for Porzingis. And Beal's still out. Kristaps wishes he never left New York. Yeah, he was supposed to be a lot better than he is, but, you're not going to go far if Porzingis is your second best player. as the third best player, maybe. You don't want to rely on him too much. But yeah, hopefully the Wiz can rely on him to get 21 or more there tonight. What do we have next? Matty Puppy Sports. Charleston Southern -1 at UNC Asheville. Big game tonight. I got a couple guys coming over to watch this game, actually. Charleston Southern 5-0 ATS in their last 5 games overall, 8-2 ATS in their last 10 games versus a team with a winning straight-up record. UNCA is 2-7 ATS in their last 9 games following an ATS win, and 3-9 ATS in their last 13 games following a straight-up win. Good luck to our guy, Matty Puppy Sports. Gave us a winner yesterday, I believe. Give that guy a follow on Twitter. One more, I believe, today. Captain Axe's Locks. He's dropping picks a couple times a week. He likes UConn. -5 here, despite the Huskies being 1-7 ATS in their last 8. I like them bouncing back at Seton Hall. Dan Hurley will light a fire under the team after losing 4 of their last 5 straight up. When they win, they cover. They shoot 35.1% from 3. Good from the free throw line. A lot of assists. Good luck to our guy, Captain Axe's Locks. Give him a follow on Twitter. College football capper. Okay, guys, it is now time for today's Handicapper Heat Check presented by VegasInsider.com, your home for the best expert picks in the business since 1997. Today's featured handicapper is Micah Roberts, who dominated the books with an 8-2 all-sports record yesterday is on a 12-1 NBA run. BI experts ASA swept the board last night with a perfect 3-0 record across all sports. And Will Rodgers has hit 6 straight NHL winners. Visit VegasInsider.com/picks for tonight's top hoops and puck plays. That's your handicapper heat check. Stay hot, bettors. Yeah. All right, Kevin, we got a bunch of content up on the Vegas Insider YouTube channel. By the way, if you're watching on YouTube right now, give us a like, give us a sub. But we're all over the divisional round. What do you have up that viewers can check out?
Well, I will say first, Joe, I am offended I have not been invited to the UNC Asheville watch party tonight at your house. So I will remember that moving forward, that you snubbed me for that. But besides that, though, we do have some good content on our YouTube channel at Vegas Insider TV. We have an NBA Best Bet video coming out in a little bit for tonight. Also college basketball. We'll have 3 more best bets that were not heard on Chasing That Paper. So you got 3 different picks on that video. Also, Joe's got the 2 NFC games. I have the 2 AFC games for this weekend, the divisional round. And you can check them out on our YouTube channel at Vegas Insider TV.
Speaking of watch parties, Kevin, question for you. Do you prefer watching sports with people, or would you prefer to be in a room by yourself?
Oh, I'd definitely be in a room by myself. I don't want to be around people. Not because of anything, not because I'm going to go crazy. I just don't want to hear all the chirping and all the different things. Like, I don't want to go to a sports bar to watch sports. That I don't want to do. I want to be kind of left alone. I mean, like, Super Bowl is different. It's okay. It's kind of more of an event. But other times, I just want to be left alone and watch the game and have control of the remote.
Yeah, we're very much aligned here, Kevin. I have watched the last 2 Super Bowls by myself, in a room by myself. And I got to tell you, it's the only way to do it. I enjoy taking in the broadcast, listening to the commentary. You know, I used to get together with a big group to watch UFC fights and stuff like that, and it totally ruins the experience. For a big sports nerd like me, anyways, you got people in your ear, people that think they're know-it-alls, they don't know what they're talking about, got a drunk guy over there, people coming and going. Sit in a room by myself, lay on the couch in my pajamas and watch the UFC pay-per-views. They're on so goddamn late. Anyways, okay, that is it for today. Going to be back tomorrow with Ian McMillan action. Speaking of the UFC, we got a big pay-per-view going down on Saturday night in Brazil. First pay-per-view of the year. Ian and I will be doing a preview and pick segment in the second half of the show tomorrow. Of course, we're going to lead with our NBA, college hoops, and NBA action for Thursday night. So make sure you check back with us then right here on the Vegas Insider YouTube channel. Best of luck with your bets tonight, unless, of course, you are failing us. And as always, keep chasing that paper. Whoa!